The letter E starts the way so many of the letters start, this little S curve at the top that we start just a little bit down from the top of the line, curve up to the top line, down, and back up. You see that point right there intersects the top line. Then the second stroke is vertical, coming down from there, stopping about 1/3 of the way up from the baseline. Second stroke, we can either do this one or this one. Let's do this one this time. That's your option. And again, try to make the second stroke vertical, parallel to the first one, about half a pen width in distance from that first stroke. Now, the third stroke has to be this curve, and I want it to line up with the top. I want the letters to square up, if you will. I don't want them to be leaning left or right. So I'm starting this, curve up, down, and this one is longer than normal, continues all the way to the right, and then comes up with a curve like that. So that's the first time we've done a stroke like this. And I like to make these two strokes touch each other, intersecting right there. Then back to the top of the letter, we have one simple curve, and then here's a stroke we haven't done before, straight out, and another simple curve, smaller than the top one. Now I hold my pen in a number 1 position, which is straight up and down. Again, this stroke, about the same distance between, do you see the distance between those two strokes? This line is about the same distance away. Same distance. And then the two hooks, starting out, you remember, not curving down immediately, but going straight out briefly and then curving down. And the distance between those two strokes is roughly 1 nib width. Now let me do that again without quite so much talking. S curve to the top, lift up, down 1/3. I'm going to do this stroke next this time. Long and curving back. That's the end of the E. Second stroke all the way to the top, parallel to the first one, coming down and intersecting that bottom curve. Back to the top, a long curve. I want the end of this stroke to be collinear with the end of that stroke. Middle stroke, short. There we go. Then the vertical, holding my pen at a number 1 angle, straight down, and then the two hooks. About 1 nib width distance between them. That's a pretty good E. Now, again, what I recommend to you is that you, with this wonderful, cheap, and easy to procure tool, that you practice those letters over and over and over again until they become comfortable, second nature in your hand. Now, to a speedball C1 nib. Here's my guidelines for a capital for a pen this wide. Curve, 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 pick up, straight down, stopping 1/3, second stroke, going back up there, parallel to the first one, coming down a little bit further, and then this curve lining up with the end of the first one, and coming out way out here and curving back. Sometimes you can push your pen uphill this way. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. It depends on the paper you're working on and the mood that your pen is in. Okay, so if you can do that, that's fine. Otherwise, you have to make that a separate stroke coming this way. Back to the top of the letter then, 1 curve, and again, I want the end of this stroke to line up with the end of that stroke. Then this middle stroke in the E, like that. Now I'm holding my pen at a number 1 angle, straight up and down. And I keep it at the number 1 angle to make these hooks. And this time I'm drawing the hooks by pulling them. One more time without quite so much talking. Curve, 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 downstroke, stop, downstroke, stop, curve, double curve back, top, middle, vertical stroke, and the 2 hooks. That's a little bit messy. You could tell I was in a hurry to get through it, but that's not too bad. You practice till you get it perfect. Got it? Now let's talk about the lowercase e. Here then is my guidelines for this tool for lowercase x height, if you will. And the E is quite predictable and quite simple, starting at the header line, down at an angle. And now I am holding my pen at 3 and a bit. 3 and a scrunch is the technical term. Got it? 3 and just a scrunch. Vertical stroke, stopping about there, then angle, 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 thin stroke with a little hook at the bottom. And then here you have an option on the E. You can stop right there, or you can make a little bit of a hook there, and I think generally that's what I prefer. One more time without so much talking. 2. All of my angles should be parallel to each other throughout the entire letter. Got it? Now let's do it with ink. Here's my guideline way down here for the lowercase letters with a nib, a C1 nib. Angle, 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 and that little hook. Let me add that again. Let me do that again. Thin line, thick line, thick line, thick, thin with a hook, and thin with a hook. I'm going to do one more time, this time adding what I call the little hangnails. Just a little bit more expressive Gothic font, leaving just that little tick at the end of almost every stroke. There you go. My ink is a little heavy on that pen, but that'll do. That's the letter E. Man, knock yourself out. Have fun practicing.